Hello, everyone. Once again, we are back for more Touhou, but this time we are going back into the past. We are going to be playing Embodiment of Scarlet Devil, which is the sixth mainline entry in the series, and the first entry on Windows. Joining me as always is Dr. Nyri A. Bakkalian, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Well, we're back again, and I'm glad to see you all in the chat. Good evening, and I am here, as I always am here on Twitch, to commentate on the real Japanese history and culture that inform the media that you consume, as I do on my own channel, Riverside Wings. But this time, it seems things will be just a little different.
Yeah. So, a kind of fascinating thing about this particular entry is there's very little Japanese mythology and very little yokai in this game. This one actually has a very strong Western monsters and mythology focus. And from what I've been able to tell looking at details and interviews, that was actually kind of intended as a punchline to some degree, where it's like Eastern story, embodiment of Scarlet Devil, and then all the creatures are Western themed. So,
So
nonetheless, that
you might say that instead of Touhou, it's Seiho.
yep,
Western.
I think that was more or less exactly the joke there that Zun was aiming for. Is just as you go through the game, you start to realize Eastern. In any case, though, this is going to be a fascinating look in the past because this game has, as you might imagine, being the very first game for Windows, as opposed to the previous ones, which were for PC 98, the series of home computers.
We've come a long way. F_Zoe_Blackheart just subscribed for 13 months.
A closed mind attracts no yokai. There will be very few yokai in this one. Anyways, we started out with Mountain of Faith explicitly for this reason, because that one was the first to dive extremely deep into local mythology for where Zun grew up, as discussed back when we first did that feature. And so we skipped ahead over 3 games as a result of doing that and just kind of continued on from there. And so by going back here, we are going to address those earlier games that we passed over, and starting with this one, which, once again, has not all that much in terms of mythology, but a lot of fascinating gameplay things in terms of what is and isn't there for this first entry on Windows. So I should have quite a bit to commentate on as a result of this having the context of how the games have evolved over time versus the original form that the Windows versions of this game had. If you want to run this game for yourself, it's a pain, because if you start it up, you probably will get an old version that you need to run 2 consecutive patches for. If you run the patches in the wrong order, you will break the game and will need to reinstall it. And after that, only then can you run an English patch on it. And after that, you will find that the game is running at 2,000 frames per second and is thus unplayably fast. And so after that, you need to put a DLL file into the game's directory that forces it to run at 60 frames per second regardless of your CPU's clock cycle. So that's fun. But that's enough yammering. Let's get into it, shall we?
Yes.
So, I am running this in a window that is the resolution of a modern computer at the time of 2002, which is to say, this game is running 640 by 480. Okay, volume should be decent. And as you can see, we can This game is old enough that there's a MIDI option for the background music.
Goodness sakes, I can feel my bones crumbling into dust already.
In the options, we already have something fascinating. You can pick how many bombs and extra lives you start with. This plays a little bit into the scoring of the game, but is otherwise, you know, if you're actually aiming for a completion as opposed to a high score, no reason not to max out on both. There's no penalty, apart from, you know, points. As this is one of the earlier games, this does not have an in-game manual, and thus does not have a storyline summary. And I'm a doofus that closed that tab, so let me go and pull it back up. Let's see here. Mute the music for just a second. During a peaceful summer in Gensokyo, an unnatural scarlet mist appeared without warning and covers much of the land. It is strong enough to block out the sun, causing the affected areas to become dark and cold. Reimu Hakure, a shrine maiden working at the Hakure Shrine, and Murasa Kirisame, a magician, set out to find the source of this mist. Their search will lead them to the Scarlet Devil Mansion and to its eccentric owners. Oh my god, I can't do the normal thing I do of block my view of the OBS preview window using the game's screen because the game window is literally too small for it. Okay, there. And yes, as P.Text put, 1 through 5 were all PC98 games. If you want to know more about what that means, that is a old home computer that was very popular in Japan. Game screen for ants, 640 by 480, the native resolution back in the day. For context, 1980 is a common resolution nowadays. 1980 by 1020. Easy. Aimed at those who aren't very good at shooting games. 5 stages overall. Very notable, that. Normal, generally aimed at most people. 6 stages overall. Hard, difficulty of an average arcade shooting game. Lunatic, a difficulty for those who are a bit strange. Yep, 1920 versus 1080. I got mixed up a little. So, if you play on easy mode in this first game, then you literally aren't even allowed to see the last level. The game just ends at the 5th stage. And so obviously that also means you get the bad ending. Yes, the system of you must beat normal, 1 credit clear to get the good ending is in full effect even back then. Here we can see some retro art from Zun. Miss Shrine Maiden of the Hakure Shrine, Reimu Hakure. Movement speed 3-star, attack range 4-star, attack power 3-star. Western Oriental Magician. Murasa Kirisame, movement speed 4, attack range 1, attack power 4. And then both of these characters have 2 weapons. And then, amazingly, Illusion Laser and Master Spark. Back then, and Homing Amulet and Fantasy Seal. The bombs and weapons that Reimu and Murasa used that debuted with this game are still in use today. Like, this is the primary loadout for both of these characters even to this day. I found, when I was practicing, that I did better in general with Persuasion Needle, as the forward focus damage was definitely worth the downside of being forward focus. Stage 1, Scroll of the Fancy Knight, Mystic Flyer. First and most obvious notable thing, climbing to the top of the screen does not give us any point of collection. There's a lot fewer pickups in general, and it takes a lot fewer in order to get power upgrades. However, grazing is even in this game. However, entering focus mode with shift, which also exists, does not reveal your hitbox. You have to just kind of learn where your hitbox is. Upgrading your weapons sometimes actually upgrades those primary shots that you shoot forward, as opposed to upgrading only your sub-weapon. It like alternates between the two. So if you'll notice, I'm firing 2 squares forward this time, along with the needles. However, the point of collection does actually exist in this game. It just requires you to already be at max power before it activates. In addition, reaching maximum power will allow you to clear all bullets on the screen immediately. Not rat slime. You mean this mode? Or this one? It sure feels great out. There aren't many evil spirits about during the day, so I'm trying my luck at night. But it's dark out and I'm not sure where to go. Still, it's so romantic out behind the shrine at night. Completely carefree. Isn't it though? Monsters come out too. It's simply wonderful. Yokai of the Dusk, Rumia. Wait a minute, who are you? We saw each other just a moment ago. Are you night blind? Humans can't see very well in the dark in the first place. Oh? I feel like I've seen people who only work at night. I have no problem with you grabbing them and eating them for dinner. Oh, is that so? You know, you're in my way. Are you the sort of person I can eat? Have you ever heard the saying that good medicine tastes bad? So, Rumia, in general, is sort of a generic yokai in that she has the ability to manipulate darkness without any particular clarity on what that means. It is frequently expanded upon as being a bubble of darkness. Spell cards exist even in this old one. And so we've got Night Sign, Nightbird. Spellcard bonus works significantly differently in this one, where it is, instead of anything relating to bombs or losing lives, it is just how many bullets happen to be on the screen when you phase change. Darkness Sign Demarcation. But yeah, Sarumia dislikes the sun and is able to make a bubble of shadow around herself in order to protect herself and wander around during the day. Of course, the medicine won't do you any good if you can't get it down in the first place. Rumia was meant to be a punchline character where her ability is super strong, but she's not very bright at using it. Pretty cute. Lake Elf Water Magus. Embodiment of Scarlet Devil is the debut point for a lot of characters that remain incredibly popular today in the Touhou series. Rumia is not a particularly popular character, but almost everyone else in this game is a character that maintains a presence in the games, both in fan work and in official work up to this point. It is possible to gain extra lives via scoring. Here we have Daiose. She doesn't have a distinct name.
Daiose, the Great Fairy.
Yep. It's worth knowing that this time, however, instead of that just being Zun coming up with names that are on the nose, that is a generic that is genuinely a generic name given to a otherwise unnamed character. There are 2 cases of that in this game. One really notable thing that this game does in regards to boss patterns that you don't really think about until you see the game behave differently. Many characters in their boss patterns have multiple different types of attacks in one pattern. Instead of a attack pattern being a singular thing that the boss does and repeats, this game has a lot of things where they do one type of volley, then swap over to a different type of volley, and then swap back. Was this lake always this big? The mist is annoying, I can't see through it. Perhaps I just have a bad sense of direction? Ice Fairy of the Lake, Cheruno. When you lose your way, it's because of the fairies. Oh, really? Could you show me the way, then? Wasn't there an island somewhere around here? Hey, be a bit more surprised. Can't you see I'm your attacker? Your target? Now that is a surprise. Quit teasing me. I'll deep freeze you with some English beef. This song remains incredibly popular and is also, as referenced by Conley here, Ice Sign Ice Ball. As referenced by Conley here is the song remixed for Iosis, for one of Iosis's most popular Flash animations. Iosis being a fan work team that made a whole bunch of Flash music video Touhou remixes. And Cheruno's Perfect Math Class is one of their most famous ones, which is a remix of this song. The creativity of the bullet patterns is in full display even back in this phase. Freeze sign, perfect freeze. Snow sign, diamond blizzard. My, it's getting chilly. I'll catch an air conditioner cold. Okay, 1 second here. So, once again, a generic ice fairy, but Cheruno has appeared as a protagonist in several of the games, or several? At least 2 games, has appeared as a protagonist, playable character. There is actually a Touhou spin-off game where she is the only playable character, where she is in a big fight with all of the other seasonal fairies. Won't be seeing the last of her, exactly. Right. In the official fighting games as well, she is present. At least 1 or 2 of them. As well as being a character in one of the Otter spin-off games that is sort of a competitive versus bullet hell game. Where dodging and collecting power-ups sends penalties to the other player in a sort of Puyo Puyo or competitive Tetris kind of styling. Power sign, or just sweet flower. Damn. Time for my last stand battle formation. You're going to fall into battle formation as a single person? Ooh. Startled me. Quit following me. Thanks for leading the way. Chinese girl Hong Merin. Hong Merin? Ailing? I should have looked up the pronunciation for this. I'm sorry. You wouldn't run away to the bit.
That's probably going to involve tones that I'm not entirely sure of. But the Hong is the same as in the Ko in Japanese reading, Scarlet. So, once again, Zun character names on the nose.
Scarlet. Gotcha. And she is the outdoor guard of Scarlet Devil Mansion, so on the nose. You wouldn't run away to the middle of nowhere, would you? Well, when you need to run, you just run. Who are you, anyway? I'm just an ordinary person. Didn't you attack me just now? That was an ordinary attack. Besides, you attacked first. You're the one who's out of the ordinary. I'm not. I'm a perfectly ordinary shrine maiden. That's good to hear. If I remember correctly, they say that shrine maidens are the kind of human it's okay to eat. Don't spread sayings like that.
Shanghai Alice of Meiji 17, huh?
That is the name of her theme song. Anything to add on that? Should I pause?
Well, Meiji 17. See, I can't do this. I can't do this conversion off the top of my head. Meiji 17 would be like would have been in the mid 1880s.
Color for
So
Rainbow
1880
Wingtime.
1884 to be specific.
Hmm.
I don't know what the significance there is, but that's what that is.
Many of her patterns involve, Oh, she has a battle formation.
They just call her China. Huh. Zoe wants to know what the Japanese mindset on fairies and such neighbors is. And to tell you the truth, I don't know, because in Japan, there's yokai.
Also, Conley, I think
and-
that's just a recurring joke as opposed to an official thing. I don't think that's actually something that's present in the games. I could be wrong, though. There are some things in this game that didn't age well.
There is in fact a paranormal scene in Japan, like the people who are into cryptids, Western cryptids, and so on. There's actually a really good depiction of it of such fans in the anime Dandadan, which I know some of you in the chat have watched.
I really gotta catch up on that.
It's a good anime, but but long story short, I don't know about that community. The people who are particularly into that, but unidentified mysterious animal Uma. But there are people who are interested in such things, and they study them. But yeah, in Japan there's yokai, so it's not that fairies and pixies and so on, fair folk, are believed to be in Japan. Now that said, there's an interesting case to be made for the Bakkalian. Now, show of hands, how many of you have heard of that? Okay, so the Bakkalian was a character in an American. I would have to look up the name to see which comic it was. But there was a comic, I think in the 1920s, an American comic that had an allegedly Japanese god of fortune that sort of looked vaguely like a troll with big feet, named the Bakkalian. And somebody made a statue of it and put it in Osaka, and it has since become enshrined as a local kami, specifically because the Bakkalian is said to have purview over Osaka sports, and in particular baseball. So, you want to talk about a folk deity, not really a cryptid, but a folk deity from the West that became indigenized. That's actually a very good example of it. The Bakkalian, who I think the famous statue is on one of the bridges in Osaka. Billiken is how that's spelled. Yes, hard luck tiger, strike again. There you go. Yeah, that's how you spell it. So yeah, that is my roundabout answer to your question.
My favorite sports linked mythology definitely remains the Curse of the Colonel.
Yes.
All right, I'll have you show me the way. I'm so sorry, mistress. The art for these games is just quaint. Mansion of Darkness, Save the Mind. Royal Magic Library.
Yeah, Billiken does look like a Labubu, yes.
Oh my.
That's a good point.
As someone who cannot currently go and look at what it looks like, I find that statement really funny. So yeah, as you saw there, entering full power gives you a free full screen clear. However, using this tactically isn't particularly an option, because killing specific enemies also does. I think it's used, like, exactly there and nowhere else. However, that's not a particularly useful tactical option, because the only way that you can end up not at full power is by dying. So, wasting a life in order to... Here's our second wasting a life in order to get a full screen clear is not a valuable trade-off. Here we have our second unnamed mid-boss character. Koakuma is the nickname that we have for her, although real name is unknown and remains unknown to this day, even for later appearances. She is translated as, I believe, Little Devil.
Yeah.
And Zun has at one point made it clear that it's unclear whether she is actually a devil or a magician, but her ability is she is a librarian assistant who has the very useful skill of immediately knowing where any book is. As for who the resident of this library is, a very bookish magician fellow. The patterns on this screen are really tough. It's also one of those things where it's like, it's a lot easier to manage if you already know where the enemies are going to come from, because they don't get the chance to fire multiple bullets. And we have the gimmick of killing specific enemies to waste all the bullets on screen. Doesn't this house have any windows? And didn't it look smaller from the outside? You there, in the red and white. No rough housing in my study. Study? Red and white. The Girl of Knowledge and Shade. Patchouli Knowledge! These books are worth...
I will never get over that name.
These books are worth 5 years of your donations. My shrine rarely has any visitors during the year. Oh? Well, then they're worth more than that. Anyway, can you actually read in such a dark room? I'm not night blind like you. I'm telling you, I'm not night blind. Well, never mind. Tell me, are you the lady of the house? What do you want with the mistress? There's too much mist outside, it's a problem. I see. Then I'm afraid I absolutely cannot let you see the mistress. I'm afraid I can't let you stop me. Who are you, anyway? Ah, yes, the mistress.
Why does patchouli knowledge make me giggle? Because patchouli is a type of substance that one uses to cover up the scent of weed, and one who partakes of the herb, one might say, and is desperate to cover it up, has the knowledge of patchouli. So it's very funny to me that she's named Patchouli Knowledge. Like, oh, interesting. It would be like, I don't know. It would be like a character who was named Hangover Cure Information.
We've missed a couple of spellcard names, I think, but whatever. Wood Sign, Sophie Horn, High Level. Each of her spell cards are individual elemental focuses. Water and wood sign.
Water elf.
Maybe I should have gone with the homing amulet. I'll definitely be using the sealing needle for the extra stage, however.
Metal and water sign, mercury poison.
Patchouli has also appeared in multiple fighting games. So tell me, why didn't the mansion look this big from the outside? There's someone in the mansion who likes to mess with space and time. Correct. Elemental focus is based on the 5 Chinese elements. Because metal is also included in there. An elegant servant for the Scarlet Moon. Song The Maiden the Pocket Watch of Blood.
Febreze Bog Roll, the new Italian Touhou.
Truly knowledge. Let's be real though, Julie absolutely would smoke weed. She is the most weed smoking of all the Touhou characters.
I could see it. I could see it.
The cleaning isn't getting anywhere. The mistress will be angry at me. Hey, we've seen this character before. We played as this character before. A maid throwing a whole bunch of knives? Conjuring.
Conjuring misdirection.
Extra life. I am scared to find out what that clip is.
Hey, I'm shooting here.
Ugh. You're getting in the way of my cleaning again. You don't seem to be the lady of the house either. Maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Saka Ye Izioi. What is it? Are you a guest of the mistress? She probably won't let me pass if I tell her that I came to defeat her mistress. You may not pass. The mistress rarely meets with people. Is she under house arrest? The mistress likes dark places, and yet a bright and sunny person like you is just fine? You're the one spreading the mist all over the place, right? It's a nuisance. What are you trying to do? Daylight is bothersome. The mistress prefers the dark. Well, I don't like it. Do you think you could stop it with the mist? Ask the mistress herself. Then call her here. And why would I place the mistress in danger? Perhaps she'll show up if I cause some trouble out here. But even so, you won't be able to meet with the mistress. I can stall for time by stopping time. So, we have a character with a focus on throwing knives who also has the ability to stop time. Does this sound familiar? There's a particularly famous anime that happens to have a character with a lot of similarities there.
Illusion existence, clock corpse.
Za Worldo, correct. Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, created by Araki Hirohiko, one of Sendai's beloved sons.
Ooh.
Illusion image Luna clock. Also, I think I mean, with characters that butter, I can see it. Maid secret skill manipulating doll. Oh, what an interesting name.
Cool. So you'll let me meet with the mistress, I believe? He's strong, but maybe the mistress can... Oh, yes. So as I mentioned, here we have normal rank times 1, player penalty times 0.2. And because I chose to start with 5 lives, the end of level point bonus is significantly lower. Reign of Blood over Elysium, the young descendant of Tepes. Tepes?
Tepesh.
Tepesh? Oh, goodness gracious. That's another one of those things that I've only read. Sincere apologies.
Well, I mean, you know, I may not know much about Western folklore, but I do know about Vlad Tepes because his history necessarily interacts with that of the Ottoman Empire, and that is something I have very intimate knowledge of.
I've got to at least make you waste a bomb before... Can you be quiet and go run some errands?
Conjuring Eternal Meek.
Well, you did it. You made me waste a bomb. And then gave me a bomb. Isn't it about time you showed yourself, mistress? The eternally young Scarlet Moon, or Amelia Scarlet. I knew it. Humans are useless. So that maid was a human. You're a murderer, you know. One person doesn't make me a mass murderer, so it's fine. Well... Oh, right. You're being a huge nuisance. How quick you are to accuse, and I don't even know why. Whatever, could you just leave? This is my castle, is it not? You are the one who will leave. I want you to leave this world. So that's how it's going to be. I'm already fed up, but... Didn't you hire that maid to protect you? I can take a sheltered young lady like you down in one blow. Sakuya was an excellent cleaner. Not a single head is on the floor thanks to her. Are you strong? Who knows? I don't get to go outside often, since I'm weak to sunlight. So you are strong then. As the moon is so scarlet, I shall thus kill you for good. Although the moon is so scarlet, looks like it's going to be a fun night. Looks like it's going to be a long night. Dubious if I'm going to achieve this, but we'll see. It's not the life and bomb situation I would like to be in at this point. You did it. Point-based extra life. We are back in it. And there it goes. Nether Sign, Scarlet Netherworld. Oh, it's... And I failed. So we are so back, it is so over. This remains a very popular and famous song. Vermelia is also present in the fighting games. Curse of Vlad Tepes. Transforming into a bat, and while she is a bat, she is immortal. That piano solo goes wild. Oh, dodging that is so difficult. Scarlet Sign, Scarlet Shoot. Some of the spell card names are less interesting than others. Rip. This is about how far I made it last time, too, with the other weapon set, so... And final pattern, Red Magic. Notably, this functions very similar in the ways that the modern Touhou games do, where if I bomb, look at that, she transforms into a bat.
It is Friday in Romania. Huh? Shoot!
Red Shoot! Red Magic. Ah. Man, missed it by one life. Tragic. Let me go and find the... Good ending number 4, Reimu B. Okay. So, since we used the continue, bad ending. The deserted shrine on a summer day, a shrine still lacking the sun's brilliance. Reimu, I've had enough. Will the mist not go away if I don't beat the culprit? Why is it so cold, anyway? Will the mist really disappear once she's taken down? The scarlet summer of the ill-trained continues on. Bad ending number 1. Aim for a no continue clear on normal or higher. After this credits segment goes, we will read through the 1995 is when the first Project Shrine Maiden game was released. We will read through the good ending. Eastern Scarlet Devil lands, embodiment of Scarlet Devil. Nanashi. What's that mean?
Nanashi means anonymous.
Nameless. Anonymous. Okay. Now that we're...
I have a joke for you.
Oh boy. Let's hear it.
How did Dracula keep his castle warm in the winter?
Burning souls?
By hanging lots of tapestries.
Sure. That joke only works now because I understand the actual correct pronunciation, and I feel incredibly embarrassed that I've gone this long without realizing that's how that's pronounced.
Which is exactly why I thought this was the appropriate time to tell this joke. You're doing very well, by the way.
Okay. Good ending number 4, Reimu B. The deserted shrine on a summer day. The sun had come back from its vacation, and the shrine was enjoying long, absent sunny days. With no humans in sight, one could hear only the cicadas. Reimu. Sure is much hotter today. I won't be able to get any work done. Then again, it's not like there's any work to do when nobody's around. If you're feeling hot and bored, let's tell each other ghost stories. That's pointless if I'm alone. Yep, you're alone. Clearly not. That aside, this sure is one shoddy shrine. Shut it, this is how shrines are supposed to look. Remelia reveals herself. It's well suited for ghost stories, no? It'll cool you off. Why would you want to do something as dumb as listen to ghost stories told by a monster in broad daylight? We can wait until night if it's any help. Let's not. So? What's the story about? Well, once upon a time, there was a girl who lived for over 500 years. And who was she? Me. Don't drink my blood, all right? Peace was working to envelop the illusory summer. Slowly but steadily, the moss covering the rocks by the riverside. Or slowly but steadily, like moss covering the rocks by the riverside. So, good ending number 4, Remelia travels outside during the daytime, bringing alongside a parasol. Like, fine, I can't envelop the world in mist in order to make it so I can walk around normally, but I guess if I bring enough protection, I can wander around. Also, your shrine sucks. Replay cannot be saved as a result of continuing. So, this is going to be fun. Because we are going to get into one of what is maybe the most singular famous thing in the entire series. The extra stage of Embodiment of Scarlet Devil. Not only is this remaining one of the most popular characters of all time in the series, it remains by far the most popular song in existence for the Touhou series, without anything even close. Select a mode, okay? Extra. Give up already. Are you crazy? So, I will reach this boss. It is, again, one of the most famous characters, and apart from Bad Apple, Bad Apple is a good second answer, but apart from that, there are lots of people who know this extra stage boss theme song that don't know Touhou Project, because derivative works based on the song were significantly popular and spread a lot, and in fact, exposure to a specific remix of the song in the end of this extra stage is how I discovered Touhou Project. Eastern Scarlet Devil Lunatic, sister of Scarlet. The Centennial Festival for Magical Girls. Cheeky bomb in order to get a bunch of power. So we have an extra stage, even in this older game, with the exact same rule set for unlocking it. You can also use a cheat in order to unlock it, just like in the other ones. Although instead of typing how much you love beer in the menus, it's press the home key 5 times, then press S 3 times, and then press Alt twice, or something along those lines. What, are you here again? I'm here again. Today my asthma isn't so bad, so I'm able to wander around. I'll show you my best magic. Because of all our time spent studying books in the dark library and cooped up inside.
At least you can take comfort in the fact that her knowledge of patchouli is second to none.
Parents like this are absolutely hell for the fact that you can't actually see your hitbox.
Fire, water, wood, metal, earth, sign, philosophy, stone. Okay, we're getting into the 5 phases, I see.
Yep. The song that I was hyping up is the boss theme that we will be seeing at the end of this extra stage. Just to be perfectly clear. Verified slime noises. 3 lives, no bombs. Acceptable. The day is unusually hot. Are they attacking more violently because of the girl who went crazy before? How naive. You there.
Vitality Havoc gifted 10 subscriptions to the community.
Thank you, Havoc. Thank you as always. How naive. You there, red white. There's another crazy one. The Devil's Little Sister, Flandre Scarlet. Here I am. And you are? You weren't here the last time I came. I was, but you couldn't see me. So are you a human? Yes, that's right. You're not trying to trick me, right? I've only ever seen humans in the form of a drink. That's right. I am human. Humans are a bit more complicated than tea, most of them anyway. But chickens... even if you don't know how to cook them, they're still tasty. And who makes food out of humans in your household? I don't know. I don't think my dear sister does. Dear sister? Replica of something or other, right? The devil? Romelia! My dear sister Romelia. I doubt that your sister can cook at all. She doesn't. There's something I want to tell you. Your dear older sister keeps intruding on my shrine and being a nuisance. Do something about it, please.
GC The Gray Area gifted 10 subscriptions to the community.
Thank you. Iconic character. Celebrating. I know. I wanted to go too. Don't. I couldn't. It was raining too hard. You got special needs, it seems. Wow, Raymond, not cool. Have you done something in the past? I couldn't have done anything. I haven't gone out even once in the past 495 years. A real problem, child. I have a play toy over here. What do you want to play? Danmaku. Oh, making patterns. I'm pretty good at that. UN Owen Was Her is the name of the song. I can't get underneath her. There we go. Ooh. I got the timing on that stuff all wrong. There we go. Back in sync. UN Owen was her is a reference to this book, and then there were none.
GC the gray area just cheered 500 bits.
Taboo, 4 of a kind. I wish I could do that.
Oh, Hatsune Miku.
Taboo, Kagome, Kagome.
Callie Habit just cheered 300 bits.
Wow. Thank you. So I will be doing a little history section of my own on this song in particular, and how it relates.
Tiny Dasher gifted 1 subscriptions to the community.
Thank you. And how it relates to both Japan, Japan video and Nico video culture, and its spreading to the West and music remix stuff. Yeah. I can do better than that. So, there are 2 main things about the song to discuss. One is, back in the early days of YouTube, there was also a equivalent used in Japan called Nico Video, or Nico Nico Doga, and nicovideo.jp. And one of the things that was popular to do is, this is kind of a activity that also spread. Actually, I'm not sure whether it originated on Nico Video and spread to the US, or if it Convergent Evolution or whatever. But getting a video, splicing the audio of it in order to make it so the sounds of the video match the beats of music that's playing in the background. And so, one of the most famous of these is known as Ronald McDonald Insanity, which I will link in the chat here for viewing in the future. And it is a parody of Japanese TV advertisements for McDonald's. And it's using the audio in order to do a remix of You and Owen Was Her. And so, ran ran ru. Yes, exactly. For a lot of people, myself included, re-uploads of this, or just the original upload, were the first way that we ever heard anything Touhou related. This one has 22 million views, was uploaded 18 years ago, and itself is a re-upload from a original post on nicovideo.jp. Which, if the link still works, let's see here. Figuring this out live. Video removed. But yes, this is a MAD, and American YouTube poop. Yeah, pretty much. YouTube poop as a music format instead of just as a splicing character to say what you want. But this particular song and remix was extremely popular and spread around a lot. And also this goes into a very funny thing that is a very early example of misinformation, as early on a lot of uploads and content said that UN Owen Was Her, like the actual music, was a rendition of a thing called Fairies, Air, and Death Waltz by John Stump.
Oh my word. Really?
Yes. So,
I know those tunes.
Fairies, Air, and Death Waltz is a musical shitpost. And essentially, if you look at the preview image for that YouTube video, along with the actual image inside, it is... Here, actually, let me get a picture and put it on the stream here. Fairies, Air, and Death Waltz is a shitpost in music notation format, where the actual music, like sheet music, is complete and utter nonsense with a whole bunch of notations that also don't make any sense and are complete absurdity if you happen to know anything about musical notation. And I am trying to yammer on as I get this image loaded up and saved to my desktop so I can actually put it on stream, because you cannot directly copy paste things onto the layout. Bear with me here as I continue to fill time, as I desperately slap buttons on my computer, as I name this ASDF, 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 and save it to my desktop. And there we go. And then we grab it from the desktop. Oh god, where is it? There it is. But if you're familiar with sheet music, you can tell that this is not right. This is not how sheet music works. And then there's a bunch of things, a bunch of notation notes that say things like insert peanuts, or keep both feet together, or like a dirigible, or release the penguins, or polish the violin bow at this point. But at some point, these two things were equated for some reason, where a picture of Fairies, Air, and Death Waltz and a title claiming that was that song was attributed to the actual music of UN Owen Was Her. So, a weird, interesting case of old misinformation, where, I mean, if you just look at this music notation, you can tell clearly that's not correct. But, you know, sheet music shitpost. Exactly. Shoutouts to Words and Music by John Stump and Arranged by Accident. I think that's my favorite individual joke from that whole image. Night of Nights is a different song. Let's see. Night of Nights is actually a remix, not of You and Owen Was Her, but a remix of a different song from this game. Not the Maid in the Pocket Watch of Blood, but Sakuya's theme. Yeah, that's a remix of Sakuya's theme, not of Flandre's. But with all that excessive discussion out of the way on tiny esoterica and popularity of music and misinformation and various other silliness like that, I'm going to make a couple more attempts at this. As per usual, while this game does not have all that much to do with yokai history, feel free to continue to ask questions on general yokai history or mythology as you see fit, or ask other folks in chat about other cultural touchstones that relate to Flandre Scarlet, because, once again, her theme song is maybe the most iconic in the Touhou series, and her character itself is also one of the most iconic. With her artificial gemstone fake wings. Everything like that. Great start. My asthma isn't so bad and I'm feeling pretty good. That's what she said. I wasn't able to read it out quickly enough last time. So that text goes by incredibly fast.
If the two of us had a Touhou song, what would its name be? Oh, that's a very good question. Moo, you might be better equipped to answer this than I would.
A theme song for both of us, or each of our individual theme songs? I didn't quite parse.
Question.
Individual, okay.
That
That seems a lot more possible.
I was gonna say.
Like, a duo boss theme song name for a duo boss fight against the both of us is a bit harder to come up with an answer for. I end up coming up with stuff that's closer to being a spell card name. Viscosity, a grand purple ocean. I believe the reason for the UN Owen was her theme song name for Flandre's theme is because I mentioned based a reference to the Agatha Christie novel, and then there were none. But when the anonymous writer who wrote a message claiming themselves as UN Owen, unknown, but sort of an anonymous letter written. Oh, cool! Thank you, Windows, for beeping that while I'm playing. But also, Flandre is depicted as not really understanding life and death and fragility of things, and so the reason that she's doesn't leave the house, or frequently isn't allowed to leave the house, or hasn't left the house ever, is because she doesn't understand her own power or the fact that she can straight up kill people. Which I think is also a comparison point. I have not personally read the Agatha Christie novel, but I hear that that is keeps breaking all those dolls that she plays with. Exactly. Yeah. She's like, oh, I mean, I can play with you. You're the toy right here. Everything that she plays with breaks. Man, I really gotta learn this pattern. Ugh. Very foolish once again. Orbit her. Head to the side. Dash to the side. Dash to the side. Orbit her twice. A little too slow. I can do better than this. Yes, Conley, I would appreciate that not being brought up. And Then There Were None is the released title of the book. So what's the meaning behind this? Kagome Kagome as the name of the spell card.
Kagome Kagome is like a thing. I forget the word for this. It's like one of those nursery rhymes that children sing when they're like running around.
Ring around the rosy-esque?
Yeah, that kind of idea, yeah.
How do you expect me to return back to the bottom of the screen at that speed? I have done better than this. My best is 80% on that ending screen progress meter. We gotta do this at least once, you know? Yes, let's move on from this topic, shall we? Master Spark! Even back then, the comedy of Marissa's super ability, just fire a colossal rainbow laser at the opponent, was in full effect. The sound effect is even the same. What, you're here again? You? Are you the one responsible for this? I don't have time for this. The little sister and now you. What kind of day is this? I noticed that a little bit. I didn't play through Marissa for the main campaign, but there's a couple of fourth wall breaking dialogues in this extra stage here. You cannot destroy those books, that's why I don't shoot here. Also, I think the books might actually counterattack you if you shoot at them too much, making this even harder. Two lives, two bombs. What's going on around here? Amelia should be at the shrine right now. So why is everyone attacking me with so much intensity? Did someone call me? Nope, I didn't. Here I am. Who are you? Before you ask a person's name... Oh, me? Right. I'm Reimu Hakure, the Shrine Maiden. I'm Flandre, Miss Marissa. You could never be a Shrine Maiden. So who are you? Maybe I should have said nurse? I've been home for a long time. Even the last time you barged in here. You were? I've been resting in the basement for about 495 years. That's sweet. I only get weekends off. I was listening when you quarreled with my dear elder sister. Dear elder sister? So you're the younger one. I've always been curious about these humans, so I came to look. Well, aren't you in luck? Here, look as much as you like. Will you play with me? Well, what's it worth to you? 1 coin. 1 coin? You can't buy a life with that. I meant that you can't use a continue. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Please? Boss kicked. A mechanic that even exists in this phase of it, in this early Windows game. Okay, let me show you how you're supposed to do this pattern. There we go. That's the way. 4 of a kind. As you might notice, the alternates are able to be killed. Which means that the usual tactical decision of aim straight for the main target or take out the minions first applies here. But yeah, even early on in these, like this very first Windows game, very neat creativity with the pattern, with the bullet pattern concepts. This one is unfortunately kind of luck-based, but I still love the idea. Like, it's possible to dodge almost every time, but it's definitely harder versus easier, depending on Flandre's mood, I guess. That. Unreal. Okay, I will give this one more attempt. Who has... Actually, I did pretty well with this, so... I am noticing that Marissa is faster in this game, so... Another trait that carried on through, I think, every single game in which Marissa has been present. Unfocused movement with Marissa is a fair bit faster than Reimu's. Hey, Patchouli. Master Spar! Well, I mean, every single pattern of the sub-boss is not exactly a tenable strategy, but you do what you gotta. And then die to something very simple because you're talking while you're playing. I will note again that I'm playing this game on my side at the size of a postage stamp. 640 by 480 is not a particularly large screen. That one didn't count. For realsies this time. I don't want to enter the final boss with 0 lives. There's a fairy that spawns off screen and shoots at you. For that wave. See that? Right there? What a jerk. That's not fair. Damn, so close. I could potentially integer upscale it, and Windows has a tool called Magnify that does that, but in my experience, messing with Magnify while streaming games causes other weird side effects. OBS does not entirely play nice with the native built-in Windows Magnify feature, unfortunately. Wah. Lossless scaler on Steam. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. The death sound actually played at the moment that I took that hit when I bombed. So yes, border of death bombs even existed back in this game. There's a couple of frames where you're allowed to hit the bomb button at the moment that you get hit and spend a bomb instead of losing a life. Two players, one bomb. Better. Still better. Nice. Come on, bunch up. Uh-oh, I don't like this. Very cruel to put me in a corridor like that and then fire a big shot straight through the corridor. Right. Can't do that in this game. Not until I have max power. I don't know why that pattern dazzles me so much, but just like my eyes lose focus and it makes it really hard to dodge that one. In any case, though, this... Let's see. While it is a pain in the butt to get working, this game and several others are available on loan at the Internet Archive. Although, it being old software, like I mentioned, that comes with its downsides of being rather difficult to get set up on modern systems, both requiring 2 official patches to be applied in a specific order, followed by an additional fan patch that creates the English translation on the fly. But it's available. And the next game that we play will be the next game in the series, which I believe is Perfect Cherry Blossom. And then after that is Imperishable Night. And Perfect Cherry Blossom, from my understanding, is a fair bit on... does have a fair focus on yokai and seasons, and, well, it's called Perfect Cherry Blossom. So there's some things that you can probably figure out a little bit from there, and several characters that have also appeared as protagonists later on made their debut in that game. Arguably the best in the series, says Conley. My favorite remains Mountain of Faith, and if we're talking mainline games, Mountain of Faith, Subterranean Animism, and Unconnected Marketeers are my favorites. If we're including non-standard games, then one of my favorites is actually Double Spoiler. I really like the photography games. UFO one is neat, yeah. Very fun extra stage on that one. I think that's going to do it for our highlight of this older Touhou game here. Let's see. A wee bit of a shorter one this time, but there is simply less that needed covering. Practice mode exists, allows you to do the main 6 stages. Great Fairy Wars is a neat one, but I actually have an issue with that one in that I don't know how they would solve it without revamping the entire control scheme, but the fact that you need to tap fire in order to fire standard bullets gets very, very tiring. There's a lot of button pressing in that game when there doesn't necessarily need to be. I honestly wish that I could, like, maybe invert the controls between freeze bullet and fire normal shot. something along those lines. In any case, though, any closing thoughts here, Nyri, before we find someone to raid on over to? Oh. Might have lost connection. Or are you muted? Let's see here. Muted.
Yes,
Muted.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to add. Thank you for having me. I look forward to the next one.
Yep. Thank you for joining me in this, and I feel like this is an important historical context for not for the. This one's odd because it's really important historical context for the Touhou series, but not important historical context for how Touhou relates to real world mythology of Japan and yokai and such. Like, this one is very important and iconic for a lot of reasons, for things relating to how characters that fans latched onto, music that fans latched onto, and overall internet culture expanding off of these games. Perfect. I had mentioned Iosis being a group that made Flash animations, and there we go. Once again, this is one of the... Cheruno is one of the more famous characters in the series, and this is, I believe, Iosis's most famous remix, Cheruno's Perfect Math Class, which is a remix of the Stage 2 boss theme. And so, once again, a lot of remix and fan work culture centers around Embodiment of Scarlet Devil and the debut of the series on Windows. Really kicked off on just the very first game that was on Windows, so impressive. And as a reminder, the absolute true first game resembled something more close to Arkanoid. Reimu ping-pongs a yin-yang orb to defeat enemies and kind of break blocks. More Pong-ish. Let's see here. Looks like normally they do live sumo commentary, but Midnight Sumo is currently playing Slay the Spire. In addition, Frankie Pixel Show, who I've raided to a few times, is currently working on a new update for Look Outside, his horror game, but because there's probably spoilers for the monster designs and stuff, a little hesitant to raid over there. And I want to play that game blind for myself. Having gotten your start in game dev by playing Arkanoid, I can respect that. Heck yeah. That's the trick, everyone. If you want to learn game dev, don't start by making your dream game. Start by making Pong. Learn how to do that. That's the key. In any case, see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in. And, of course...
To another place.
I forgot. Shoutouts to Riverside Wings and support her work. And now the two user interface elements are overlapping, so I can't click the raid button. Thank you, interface. I literally... Oh, there we go. To another place.